Jake Morrison received the assignment on a Tuesday morning. The message came through the official military channel, marked with security clearance stamps that made his supervisor whistle low when he saw them. Jake was a soldier. He followed orders. But even soldiers ask questions sometimes, and this assignment made no sense. He was supposed to protect Princess Alara of the Ketherani Empire, not fight in a war, not guard a military installation. Just keep one alien princess alive for the length of her stay on Station 7. Jake was 28 years old and human. The Ketherani were known for being hard, efficient, and not particularly fond of humans. They thought humans were weak. They thought humans were tools to be used and thrown away. Jake had read the intelligence reports. He knew what they believed about his species. So why would they request human protection for their princess? Jake dressed in his dress uniform and made his way to the briefing room. The hallways of Station 7 were always busy. Aliens of a dozen different species moved past each other, conducting business, making deals, building the network of trade and diplomacy that kept the galaxy from tearing itself apart. Station 7 was supposed to be neutral ground. It was supposed to be safe. But Jake had learned long ago that safe was a word with many meanings. The briefing officer was a woman named Carol. She had been in the military longer than Jake had been alive. She did not waste time on small talk. "You have read the file?" she asked. "I have," Jake said. "I do not understand it." Carol leaned back in her chair. "Neither does anyone else." The Ketherani made a specific request. They want human protection for the princess. They turned down offers from the Janthi, who were excellent security professionals. They refused the Carillion Guard service, which is expensive but very good. They specifically asked for a human captain. Why? Jake asked. "That is the question no one can answer," Carol said. "But this comes from the highest levels. The council wants this to work. The Ketherani want this to work. And you are going to make it work. And if something goes wrong?" Jake asked. "If she gets hurt on my watch? Then you will have destroyed human standing in the entire galaxy," Carol said. It was not a threat. It was just a statement of fact. The Ketherani are already skeptical of us. This is a chance to show them that humans are reliable, that we are trustworthy, that we can do what we say we will do. Do not waste that chance. Jake had thought about that conversation many times in the hours that followed. He prepared himself mentally for the assignment. He studied the princess's file. She was 17 years old. She was the youngest member of the royal family. She had 3 older brothers and 4 older sisters. Most of them were dead. That was the part that caught Jake's attention. The file listed the dead family members matter-of-factly, but the pattern was clear. The oldest brother had died in a military accident. One sister had died of illness. Another brother had died in an explosion. Another sister had died in a transport crash. The deaths were spaced out over the past 10 years, each one ruled accidental, each one leaving fewer family members in the line of succession. Now only Princess Alara and one older brother remained. The older brother was the designated heir to the throne. The princess was the backup option if something happened to him. Jake did not need to be a detective to understand what was happening. Someone was killing the royal family. Someone was working through the line of succession, removing people one by one. The Ketherani were smart enough to know it was happening. And they were desperate enough to ask a human for help. Jake arrived at the station, docking bay, 2 hours before the princess was scheduled to arrive. He had 3 guards working with him, all human, all experienced. They had set up a secure corridor from the docking gate to the diplomatic quarters. Every person who walked that path had been checked 3 times. Every piece of equipment had been scanned. The walls were clear of any hidden places where a person could hide. Then the Ketherani ship arrived. It was large and gray and built for function, not beauty. The docking procedures were efficient. The Ketherani did not waste time. Within 30 minutes, the airlock was secure and the boarding ramp was lowered. Princess Alara came down that ramp with guards around her. But Jake could see immediately that she was different from the other Ketherani. She moved with purpose, yes. She was careful, yes. But she also moved like someone who knew she was a target. Her eyes were always moving. Her posture was always ready to move quickly. She had the body language of someone who had been hunting and hunted both. She was tall, like all Ketherani, with their characteristic deep purple skin and silver markings. But her eyes held something that Jake rarely saw in Ketherani faces. Her eyes held fear. Not the small fear of someone worried about a business deal falling through. The real fear. The fear of someone who knew the people very close to her wanted her dead. She stopped when she saw Jake standing in the center of the corridor. She looked at him for a long moment. Jake did not move. He let her look. He let her study his face and his stance and his hands. Finally, she walked forward. "You are Captain Jake Morrison," she said. Her voice was hard but not unkind. "I am," Jake replied. "I have been assigned as your personal protection detail. You will be safe here. You have my word on that." The princess did not smile. "Your word means nothing to my people. We do not trust humans. Then why request human protection?" Jake asked. He knew it was not the smartest thing to say, but he needed to understand what was happening. The princess looked past him, at the corridor behind him, at his guards, at the blank walls and secure doors. When she looked back at Jake, her expression was hard and clear. "Because," she said quietly, "I need someone who has nothing to gain by killing me. I need someone whose loyalty can be bought with nothing but a promise. I need someone who stands apart from my family's politics. I need a human because no human can inherit my throne." Jake understood then. This was not about what humans could do. This was about what humans could not do. In a family where everyone wanted power, only an outsider could be trusted. "Then I will not fail," Jake said. The princess nodded once. "See that you do not." Jake learned the rules of being the princess's bodyguard within the first hours. He learned that he was to follow her everywhere. He learned that she trusted no food she did not watch being prepared. He learned that she changed her route every time she moved through the station. And she moved at times that made no pattern that anyone could predict. The other Ketherani guards worked with him without speaking. They did not like humans, but they understood orders. They positioned themselves around the princess in a tight circle. Jake was placed directly in front of her, the closest position. The position that would die first if something went wrong. Jake did not mind this arrangement. It was actually smart. If someone wanted to kill the princess, they would have to kill him first. On the second day, the station's environmental systems registered a problem in the princess's quarters. The air filtration system had been tampered with. A poison had been introduced into the ventilation shafts. If Princess Alara had slept in those quarters the night before, she would have been dead by morning. Jake was in the security center when the report came in. He watched the data stream across the screen. The poison was expensive. It was rare. It was not something that could be bought easily. Someone with significant resources and access had done this. Carol from the military walked into the security center within minutes. She read the report with her jaw tightening. When she looked at Jake, her expression was grim. "This is not an accident," she said. "No," Jake agreed. "This is an assassination attempt. The Ketherani are going to demand answers," Carol said. "They are going to demand to know how this happened on our station, under our security protocols, in a system that we assured them was safe. And we are going to have to tell them that we do not know how it happened." Jake left the security center and went directly to the princess's current temporary quarters. She was eating lunch when he arrived. She looked at him and immediately stood up. "Something is wrong," she said. It was not a question. "The environmental systems in your primary quarters were poisoned," Jake said. "You were not there last night, which saved your life." The princess did not react with shock or fear. She simply nodded, as if Jake had told her that the cafeteria was serving meals at noon. "How bad?" she asked. "Bad enough to kill you in hours," Jake said. "Expensive poison. Professional job." The princess set down her eating utensils carefully. "I need to see the evidence." Jake took her to the Environmental Control Center. The station's engineers showed her the tampering. They showed her where the poison had been injected into the system. They showed her the damage and the method. The princess studied everything carefully. She asked specific questions about the ventilation system. She asked about the timeline. She asked about who had access to this area. When she was done, she looked at Jake. "This person is good at what they do." "Yes," Jake said. "And they have already tried 4 times before this," the princess said. It was not a question. She had read her own file. She knew her own history. "Yes," Jake said again. The princess walked through the station with Jake after that. She said nothing for hours. They moved through corridors and past neutral zones where traders conducted business. The princess watched everything. She watched the other beings around her. She watched the guards. She watched Jake. Finally, as they walked through an empty maintenance corridor, she spoke. "Tell me, Captain Morrison, what would you do if someone you trusted very much tried to kill you?" Jake thought about the question. It was not a casual question. Jake could tell that the answer mattered to her. "I would want to know why first," Jake said. "If they were forced to do it, if someone threatened them or their family, then I might find a way to forgive them. I might even find a way to help them escape the person who forced them." The princess stopped walking. She looked at Jake directly. "You would help someone who tried to murder you?" "If they did not have a choice," Jake said. "Yes, I would." The princess resumed walking. "That is an unusual answer." "It is the honest answer," Jake said. They walked together in silence for a while longer. Then the princess asked another question. "If you were at war with someone, and that someone hurt your family, would you hurt them back?" "I would stop them," Jake said. "But I would not enjoy it." "Why not?" the princess asked. "If they hurt your family, justice would demand that you cause them pain." "Justice and revenge are not the same thing," Jake said. "Justice means making sure they cannot hurt anyone again. Revenge means hurting them to make yourself feel better. Justice is necessary. Revenge is just making more damage." The princess walked beside him for a long time without speaking. They passed through several more corridors. Other beings moved around them, but the princess seemed not to notice them. Finally, she said, "I have been trained to think that strength means being willing to destroy your enemies. That power means being willing to hurt anyone who stands in your way. But you were saying that strength could mean something different." "Strength is many things," Jake said. "Sometimes it means knowing when not to hurt someone. Sometimes it means saving someone instead of destroying them." The princess stopped walking again. She looked at Jake with an expression that he could not quite read. "Tomorrow, there will be another briefing with my delegation," she said. "I will need to think about what you have said. I need to understand something first." "Understand what?" Jake asked. "I need to understand," the princess said, "if humans truly mean what your species claims, or if you are just good at saying the right words." That night, Jake sat in his quarters and thought about the conversation. He understood what the princess was really asking. She was not asking about his personal beliefs. She was asking about what it meant to be human. She was asking if humans could be trusted. And Jake realized that the entire future of human-Catharani relations might, Depend on how he answered her questions. He did not sleep that night. Instead, he prepared himself for what might come next. He reviewed security protocols. He studied the station's systems. He made sure that every guard, every camera, every security measure was in place, because Jake understood something that the princess did not yet know. Someone inside her own delegation was trying to kill her. Someone close to her wanted her dead. And when that truth came out, Jake's answers about strength and mercy would become much more than just philosophy. They would become survival. 2 days after the poisoning attempt, the princess called Jake into her quarters for a private meeting. She dismissed her guards. All of them. Just like that, she was alone with a human she had known for less than a week. Jake knew this was important. A Ketherani princess did not dismiss her security without a reason. Sit, the princess said. She was standing at the window that overlooked the main docking section of the station. From this height, they could see ships arriving and leaving. Traders moving cargo, the constant flow of commerce that kept the galaxy functioning. Jake said. I have been thinking about your answer, the princess said without turning around. The one about strength and mercy. About helping someone who tried to kill you. Yes, Jake said. I need to tell you something, the princess continued. Something that no one else on this station knows. Something that only the highest members of the Ketherani government understand. Jake waited. He did not push. The princess would speak when she was ready. Finally, she turned away from the window and sat down across from Jake. Her expression was carefully controlled, but Jake could see the pain beneath it. Real pain. Not political pain, but personal pain. My brother is dead, the princess said. The oldest one. My brother who was supposed to be emperor. The official report says he died in a climbing accident. The truth is that he was murdered. Jake did not show surprise. He had read between the lines of the princess's file. He had seen the pattern of deaths. But hearing it confirmed was different. Who killed him? Jake asked. My uncle, the princess said. The regent. The man who runs the empire while my family grows smaller and smaller. Jake understood then. Everything makes sense. The other deaths. Your sisters. Your other brothers. That was him too. All of them, the princess said. One by one, he has removed anyone who stood between him and power. The climbing accident. The disease. The explosion. The transport crash. All of them were him or people working for him. All of them were murders disguised as accidents. And now he is trying to kill you, Jake said. Now he is trying to kill me, the princess agreed. Because I am the only thing left. When I am dead, my older brother will become the heir. My uncle can become regent for him, control him, or when the right moment comes, he can eliminate my brother too and become emperor himself. Jake thought about this. The logic was brutal and clear. Kill everyone in the way. Take the throne. Rule alone with no one to challenge your authority. Why are you telling me this? Jake asked. If this is true, if you are saying these things out loud, you are admitting that your own family is trying to kill you. That is not something to speak about easily. Because I needed to test you, the princess said. I needed to understand if humans were truly different from what I have been taught. I needed to know if you would help me. Not because it benefits you, but because it is right. I will protect you, Jake said. That is my assignment. No, the princess said. That is not enough. I need more than protection from a soldier doing his job. I need to know that humans have something that my people have lost. I need to know that humans still believe in loyalty to someone, even when it costs them something. Even when helping me could destroy your career with the military. Even when helping me could make your entire species look bad to the Ketherani government. Jake understood what she was asking. She was asking if he would choose the right thing even if it was dangerous. even if it would hurt him. I will help you, Jake said. Not because of my assignment, but because what your uncle is doing is wrong, and someone needs to stop him. If that someone is me, then that is what I will do. The princess nodded once. She looked satisfied, but also sad. Good, she said, because my uncle is coming to the station tomorrow. He sent a message. He is coming to personally ensure my safety. He wants me to return to the Empire with him, where he can provide better security. Jake felt a chill go through him. That was exactly what someone would say if they wanted to get the princess into a position where they could kill her easily. If you go with him, he will kill you, Jake said. I know, the princess said. But if I refuse to go with him, he will tell the Ketherani government that I am unstable, that I am a threat to the Empire. He will say that I am refusing the protection of my family because I have been influenced by alien propaganda. He will revoke my status as a royal heir. He will make me a criminal in my own empire. Either way, he wins, Jake said. Unless we do something that he does not expect, the princess said. Unless we show him that he is wrong about something fundamental. What do you mean? Jake asked. My uncle believes that humans are weak, the princess said. He believes that we are servants and tools. He believes that we can be used and discarded. This belief is the foundation of his entire philosophy. He believes in might and power and the ability to dominate. The princess stood up and walked to Jake. She looked down at him with an expression that was both determined and frightened. If you can show him that his belief is wrong, she said. If you can demonstrate that humans are something he does not understand, something he did not plan for, it will change everything. It will make other Ketherani question his assumptions. It will create doubt. What are you asking me to do? Jake asked. I am asking you to be ready, the princess said. When my uncle arrives tomorrow, he will try to take me back to the Empire. He will do it by force if he has to. I need you to stop him. Not by hiding or running, but by standing in his way. I need you to show him that you cannot be moved. I need you to show him that loyalty to someone else is more important to you than your own safety. Jake stood up. He looked at the princess directly. I will do it, he said. Whatever happens tomorrow, I will make sure he understands what humans are truly capable of. The princess reached out and placed her hand on Jake's shoulder. She said nothing. She did not need to. In that moment, an agreement was made. Not between a soldier and his assignment, but between two beings who had decided to stand against the darkness together. Tomorrow would be the day that everything changed. Tomorrow would be the day that the princess learned if her trust in humans was justified. And tomorrow would be the day that Jake Morrison showed the galaxy exactly what humanity was capable of. The Ketherani regent arrived at Station 7 with the kind of arrival that announced power. His ship was enormous, a military vessel painted in the colors of the Ketherani Empire. His security detail numbered 30 guards. They moved through the corridors with the confidence of beings who had never been denied anything. Jake watched from the command center as the regent progressed through the station. He was a large Ketherani, even by the standards of his kind, with the deep purple skin marked with silver patterns that indicated high rank and old family. His expression showed nothing. His eyes were empty of emotion. This was a being who had murdered his own nephews and nieces. This was a being who would continue killing until he sat alone at the top of the power structure. The regent requested a meeting in the council chambers. He said he wanted to discuss the safety protocols on the station. He said he wanted to personally ensure his niece's security. He said many things that all meant the same thing. He was going to take the princess away. The council chambers, filled with representatives from every species on the station. Humans, Janthi, Carillions, Vela, and 24 others. They all came to watch what was happening. Word had spread through the station network that something Significant was about to occur. The princess arrived with Jake directly behind her. She wore her formal robes, the ones that announced her status as a royal heir. She was calm. She was composed. But Jake could see the tension in her shoulders. The regent sat at the center of the council table. He looked at his niece with an expression that was carefully neutral. "Alara," he said, "I am pleased to see you safe. The protection offered here on this station is adequate, but I believe you would be safer returning home, under my personal protection." "With respect, Regent," the princess said, "I have chosen to remain here for the duration of the diplomatic mission." "That was before we discovered the assassination attempt," the regent said. "Clearly, the security on this station is inadequate. You will return with me immediately. This is not a request." Jake watched the regent carefully. The man was confident. Too confident. He believed the princess would obey him because she was young and female and caught in the power structure of the empire. He believed that humans were weak and would not interfere. The princess turned to look at Jake. She nodded once. Jake stepped forward. "The princess will not be leaving the station," he said. The effect was immediate. The entire council chamber seemed to take a breath. The regent's face changed. His eyes narrowed. His entire posture shifted from relaxed to ready. "You will remove yourself from this discussion," the regent said to Jake. His voice was quiet and cold. "You are not Ketharani. You have no authority here." "I have the authority granted to me by the council," Jake said. "The princess is under human protection. She has chosen to remain here. That is final." The regent stood up. His guards immediately moved forward. "Stand aside," he commanded. Jake did not move. The first guard came at Jake with obvious confidence. The Ketharani were larger, stronger, and faster than humans. They had been designed by nature on a harsh world to be warrior species. They had fought in 3 major wars and won them all. The guard reached for Jake. Jake dropped him in 3 seconds. The second guard attacked immediately. This one came at Jake with a weapon, but Jake had been watching the guard position since the regent arrived. He knew where the weapons were. He avoided the strike and moved inside the guard's reach. A human was smaller, more flexible. A human could move in ways that a larger being could not. Jake used these advantages. He used leverage and timing instead of strength. The second guard went down. The third and fourth guards came together. Jake moved backward, avoiding their initial strikes, waiting for the moment when they would be off balance. When it came, he struck. Both guards fell by the fifth guard. The regent began to understand that his physical superiority meant nothing against someone who fought differently. Someone who understood leverage and positioning and the specific vulnerable points on Ketharani physiology. Jake had studied their anatomy. He had practiced against simulation opponents. He had prepared for this moment. 6 guards down. 7. 8. Jake was breathing hard, but he was not tired. He was focused. He was doing the thing that humans did better than almost any other species. He was adapting. He was learning in real time what worked and what did not. Each guard he faced taught him something. Each fight refined his understanding. 9 guards down. 10. By the 11th guard, the remaining Ketharani security stopped attacking. They understood. This human was dangerous. Not because he was strong, but because he was unpredictable. He did not fight like a Ketharani. He did not follow their patterns. He was something outside their experience. The entire council chamber was silent. Representatives from a dozen species watched as a single human stood between the regent and his goal. Jake straightened his uniform. Blood was on his face, but not his own. His breathing was controlled. His posture was perfect. "The princess has chosen sanctuary with the Galactic Council," Jake said. His voice was steady. She is under human protection. If you want her, you will have to go through me." The regent's face was a deeper shade of purple than it had been. His anger was visible, but he did not move. Jake waited. The regent could attack him now. Jake might not survive the attempt, but if the regent killed Jake, he would have killed a human military officer in front of representatives from multiple species. He would have violated the neutrality of the station. He would have admitted his guilt to everyone in the chamber. He would have lost everything. The regent looked at his remaining guards. He looked at the council members. He looked at his niece. Finally, he turned and walked out of the chamber. His guards followed him. The council chamber erupted in noise. Representatives were speaking in a dozen different languages. Some were arguing that Jake should be arrested for assault. Others were defending his actions. Still others were simply stunned that a human had defeated a Ketherani military detail. Jake stood quietly and let them argue. The princess walked over to him. She placed her hand on his shoulder, just like she had promised. "Thank you," she said quietly, so only Jake could hear. "You have shown my people something they needed to learn." "What is that?" Jake asked. "That humans are not weak," the princess said. "That when you give us your loyalty, we can trust it because you have chosen to give it. My uncle thought he could dominate you because you are smaller. He was wrong." Jake looked at the princess. "I did not do this to prove that humans are strong. I did this because it was right." The princess smiled for the first time since Jake had met her. It was a small smile, but real. "Yes," she said. "That is exactly why you did it. And that is what he will never understand." The regent did not leave the station immediately. He stayed for 3 more days, claiming that diplomatic negotiations required his presence. His guards maintained distance from Jake. No one attacked. No one made any moves. But Jake could feel the anger radiating from the Ketherani delegation. During those 3 days, the news of what had happened in the council chambers spread through the galaxy network. A human had fought 11 Ketherani guards. A human had stood between the regent and his goal. A human had not backed down. The implications of this event were enormous. For the first time, the galaxy had to reconsider what humans were capable of. For the first time, species that had always viewed humans as minor players had to understand that humans could be dangerous in unexpected ways. Jake received messages from military leaders across human space. Some congratulated him. Some questioned his methods. Some worried about retaliation. All of them understood that something significant had changed. Carol came to see Jake on the 3rd day after the confrontation. "You have made yourself very important," she said, "and very unpopular in certain places." "I did what was necessary," Jake replied. "I know," Carol said. "That is what makes this complicated. You did the right thing, but the right thing has consequences. The Ketherani are angry. They've made it clear that they will remember this. They will remember that a human beat their guards. They will remember that a human protected their princess from the regent. Is there a problem?" Jake asked. "Not right now," Carol said. "But in the future, yes. The regent will not forgive this. He will look for ways to hurt humans, to prove that he was right about us being weak. And other Ketherani will wonder if the regent was wrong about other things too. Will that cause war?" Jake asked. "No," Carol said. "But it might cause the Ketherani to respect humans for the first time. And that is more dangerous than war in some ways. War ends. Respect is permanent." On the 4th day, the regent's ship left the station. The princess asked Jake to meet with her one final time before her delegation departed. They sat in the same quarters where they had first spoken about the truth behind the assassination attempts. "I have been thinking about what happens next," the princess said. "My uncle will go home and try to recover from this humiliation. He will make plans. He will eventually try again to kill me, or to kill my brother, or to take the throne some other way. This is not finished. What will you do?" Jake asked. "I will tell my brother everything," the princess said. "About my uncle, about the murders, about the attempts on my life. My brother will have to decide what to do with this information. He might not believe me. He might be afraid of the political consequences. But I will have told him the truth, and what he does with it is his choice." The princess stood and walked to the window. From here, they could see the Ketherani ship preparing to depart. "I want you to know something," the princess continued. "I came to this station expecting to find human soldiers who would follow orders without question. I expected to find beings who were tools to be used. Instead, I found a person who was willing to risk everything to do what was right. That is not something I had experienced before. I was just doing my job," Jake said. "No," the princess said. "You went far beyond your job. You protected someone who was not your family. You faced an enemy who was more powerful than you because you believed it was right. You asked no reward. You expected no honor. You simply did what was necessary." The princess turned back to Jake. "That is what makes humans dangerous," she said. "Not your strength, not your weapons, but the fact that you can be loyal to an idea instead of just to your own survival. My people have forgotten how to do that. We fight for power. We fight for resources. We fight for status. We do not fight because something is right." "Some humans forget that too," Jake said. "Some humans fight only for themselves." "Yes," the princess agreed. "But it is possible for humans to remember. And that possibility is what frightens my uncle more than any weapon." The princess extended her hand. In Ketherani custom, this was a gesture of equality and respect. Jake took her hand. "Thank you for showing me that humans are more than what I was taught," the princess said. "Thank you for protecting me, not because it was your duty, but because it was right." "You are welcome," Jake said. "I hope your brother listens to what you have to say. I hope you manage to stop your uncle. If I do not, I know I will have someone I can trust," the princess said. "That is something I did not have before you came." 2 hours later, Jake stood at the observation window and watched the Ketherani ships depart. The princess was on one of those ships, heading back to a dangerous situation, to a family full of people who wanted to kill her, to a government that was falling apart under the weight of murder and betrayal. Carol came to stand beside Jake. "You know this is not finished," she said. "You know there will be consequences." "Yes," Jake said. "But sometimes doing the right thing means accepting consequences." "The council is already talking about what this means," Carol continued. "Some of them think this was exactly what we needed. A demonstration that humans are not weak. Others are worried that we have made the Ketherani afraid of us, and afraid beings are dangerous. What do you think?" Jake asked. Carol considered the question carefully. "I think," she said slowly, "that we have just changed the way the galaxy sees us. We have shown that humans are capable of loyalty, courage, and fighting for something beyond ourselves. Some beings will respect that. Some will fear it. But all of them will have to stop thinking of us as minor players." Jake watched the Ketherani ships disappear into the distance. "I wonder if the princess will be all right," he said quietly. "If her brother is as smart as she is," Carol said, "then yes, she will be all right. And the galaxy will be different because of what you did here." Jake did not feel like he had done something remarkable. He had simply protected someone who was being hunted. He had simply refused to let a good person be destroyed by someone evil. He had simply been human. But maybe, he thought, that was exactly what the galaxy needed to see. Maybe it was enough to show them that humans could be trusted, that humans could be loyal, That when humans chose to fight, they fought for something bigger than themselves. The station continued its rotation, and Station 7 returned to its normal operations. Traders conducted business. Species negotiated and competed and cooperated. The galaxy moved forward, but something had changed. And Jake Morrison knew that what happened in the council chambers would echo through galactic history for years to come. He had shown the Kethrani, and through them, the entire galaxy, that humans were something more than what they had assumed. He had shown them what it meant to be human, and he would never be the same.